Welcome back to Camelot Hills. Today we're talking about hay. We had a great interest in our feeding video on what to feed your goats, so we decided to do a short series of what to feed your goats. And today we're going to start by talking about hay, probably the most important thing to feed your goats. When it comes to hay, it provides extra nutrients, the browse that they need, the forage that they need, that they would normally get out in the field, the pasture, out in the wild. As they're not in the wild, we've got to make sure that we give it to them. And hay is a wonderful way of doing that. A goat will eat 3 to 5% of its weight each day in dry goods, hay and forage, leaves, tree limbs, bushes, bark off the tree, anything that they can find, with the exception of grass, because they really don't like grass. If goats eat grass, it's usually because they don't have anything else to eat. Here with us today, we have just regular grass hay and alfalfa hay. Regular grass hay is generally found locally for most people. There's some things that you've got to make sure that you know, and that's, how do you find good hay? Well, you need to ask around. Ask what other goat people are giving theirs. Call your local hay supplier, whether that be just an individual selling it, or whether that be your local co-op or your local feed store, whatever, and ask them where they get their hay, what's it from, what's in it. In our case, in this is Bermuda and Bahia mix. It's a really good mix of the two. That way you get a good leafy and a good stem in one. So you get a good balance. And I'll show you kind of what I mean. When you look at your hay, you can see it's got a lot of different color. You got some browns and some greens. You got some stems, good, nice, thick, hard stuff right there. And then you've also got some nice, soft, leafy bits, which is the grass itself, you know, the blades of grass, if you will. Then, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure you smell it. Stick your nose up in there real good and get a good sniff. Make sure it doesn't smell moldy. It wants to feel a little bit moist where it kind of bends, but not cracks. When you open it up, you want to feel just a little bit of moisture in there. That way you know that it's not old and been sitting in the barn for a year or two and not been used. Another indicator of that is making sure you've got some green color still in it, because this is fresh. This was only baled up a couple weeks ago. We're going to stuff that back in there and give it to the goats later. But when you go and check out hay, make sure that you stick your nose down in there. Make sure that it don't smell or look moldy. It's good, tight, firm bales. Some people bale it differently. There's different forms that you can find grass hay in. Many times you find them in square bales like this, or you can also find round bales that people sell that are somewhere between 800 and 1,200 pounds. But you might need a tractor before you go buying some of that if you don't have enough people to help you unload it from your truck or your trailer. But that's a nutshell about just regular grass hay. You can find all different kinds of grass hay around the country. Just find out what's in your area and what your goats would do well with. Now over to my right, I have a bale of alfalfa. You see how it's all nice and really pretty green. It's got some. I'm gonna grab a flake of this up. I'm gonna bring it up and show it to you. When you got alfalfa, you've got a lot of stems and a lot of little leaves in there. This is beautiful. I've only seen pictures of it when it's growing in the wild, but I've never seen it growing here because in Mississippi it doesn't grow very well. But we have this imported or trucked in from New Mexico, and I've seen pictures of this stuff while it's out growing, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. But you see, you've got some really good firm stems, and you've got a lot of leaves, and you've got a good balance of the two. Now, why do you want a balance of the two? To balance the nutrition out. As the nutrition is balanced out, you get plenty of protein, plenty of calcium, and any other nutrients that it's sucking up into that grass. Because that's essentially what this is. This is the legume grass. Now, that being said, there's also other good hays out there, other legume hays that have lots of protein and lots of calcium and lots of nutrients in it. This is just one of them that we get. Peanut hay is coming along in different parts of the country. They grow a lot of it down in Florida and a few other places. It's comparable in price. This alfalfa can get expensive compared to a bale of just regular grass hay. Alfalfa hay can cost anywhere from 3 to 5 times the cost of it, depending on your suppliers. So it's a little more expensive, or a lot more expensive, but it's really good. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, and if you can afford to feed it, go ahead and feed it. But we don't free feed this. We give them about a flake at a time, maybe a flake a day or 2 flakes a day, depending on what we want our goats to do. Are we wanting them to gain weight, or are we wanting them to lose weight? If we need them to lose weight, a lot of times we'll cut this out completely and then just leave them with the grass hay. So, all that said, you just have to be careful. Be careful what you buy. If you find out that you bought a bad bale, then use that bale for something else. Use it for ground cover. Don't use it for bedding for your goats, because obviously the mold will be bad for them. But use it for ground cover. Go find somebody that wants to use it at Halloween. You know, some decoration somewhere that it's not going to be in your goats' face where they can suck up any of that mold. So I've said all that to say this: make sure your goats have plenty of hay. We like to free feed grass hay, and then we give them alfalfa as needed based on what we want their diet to do. Also, we're going to do more videos on the subject of feed, and the next one we plan on doing is going to be on grains. You see, somebody knows I've got the alfalfa sitting here, and they're wanting to come get some. So, anyway, back to the subject at hand. Before you go changing your diet, your goat's diet, make sure that you do it in small increments. So if you decide that you're going to give them some alfalfa in their diet, if you aren't or not already, don't just throw the whole bale out there. Give them a little bit at a time. Allow their rumens to get used to it. If you change a diet quickly in a goat, their rumen is almost inevitably going to have issues, and you might have scours, or you might, diarrhea, or whatever you want to call it. And you don't want that. You want to make sure that they're getting good nutrients, but in a slow, timely fashion. Once they get used to it for a few days, then you can give them a little more if you choose. So you have to watch your goats. And remember this: a happy goat is a healthy goat. So if you have any questions about hay, you have any comments about hay, feel free to comment down in our comment section. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and go visit us at facebook.com/Camelot Hills. We try to stay pretty up to date so y'all can know what's going on here on our farm, and we always like to hear from other farms around the country and tell us how y'all are doing things. That helps us, and then we can tell everybody else, and we can all help each other. So enjoy your hay. I know I'm going to enjoy mine. Thank y'all for watching.